Hey, everybody, this is episode number 10. Yippee. Cybersecurity Defense Ecosystem. We've got the gang on board. One person bit MIA, but that's okay. We'll catch up a little bit later. We're not quite sure where that person is, but we'll find out.
Or
Yeah.
maybe it's MIIA. He's missing in artificial intelligence or AI.
Oh, wow. It's actually a new expression. Randall,
Yeah.
I love it.
I seen the Tron movie, man. He's been zapped in there and he can't come out.
He's
MIAI.
entered the
That's it.
matrix.
MIAI. Missing in
MIAI.
artificial intelligence.
Jeez. All right,
With a
we're going to go
question mark or
crazy.
without a question mark?
So, Evgeniy, you are in Costa Rica, you said?
Yes.
And Adam, you're in Virginia?
Yep.
And Randall's in Montreal.
Phil?
Sadly, I'm in Toronto, in the coldish weather. But hey, I'm in the best country right now, so don't talk about this, Adam. All right, my friend. All right, so there we go. We're going to talk about cybersecurity. RSA was just a few weeks ago, or about a month ago. I don't even know how long ago. It just seems like it was a massive experience for everybody. An update. Evgeniy, maybe we start from you. What's the latest in your life, man?
Wow. A lot of work in discern security and working with the customers and explaining to people about the health checks and how it's aligned to the new things that are happening, like MITOS. We'll talk about this a bit later on as well. But this is definitely important, moving the company forward. Also speaking quite a lot about soft skills and communication and why smart people not always able to sell their ideas and how to fix it as well.
That could be a book, man. How smart people are not able to sell their ideas. Wow, that's a book. Adam, man, how have you been doing? And what are you working on these days?
Yeah. So as you know, I wear many hats. So we've been doing some pretty heavy duty IR work and some pen testing as a result of that. Got sucked into that. So that's been fun. Can't say who it was, but it was in the news. And then on the SureStack side, just cranking out integrations. We're going to talk about different models. Finding lots of cool things there. Not cool for the customers, but cool that we're finding them in an automated way. So yeah, just keeping busy, and then trying to keep up with all the advances in AI and models and how we can utilize some of those to, for ethical offensive purposes, but also defensive purposes.
There you go. So, Adam, man, do you really get to sleep sometimes? Do you turn off your brain, or are you just like working 24/7, 365? Like, how do you get time with the booze that you produce? Like, do you have a sip here and there, or what?
Yeah, a little bit in moderation, the good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
It's been fun. We're doing some festivals and things and trying to ramp that up. So
we're expecting a case soon. So let's go from
yeah,
there.
well, hopefully in May.
For sure. Randall, man, how's life? I know you and I had an event recently, but
Yeah,
what are you up to?
my mind is still reeling from all the actionable items that I can use. As you know, my company is the lab to test all this stuff out, and there's a lot of things on our plate to roll out because of the event. So I have to say that it was extremely beneficial. The talk on AI and how it's affecting cybersecurity, both from the attacks that are coming in harder, faster, and also the dangers of people using AI without the companies knowing it. So we call that shadow AI is real. And yeah, there's so much information, but so valuable because it's in the end, we're all in this together, which is the whole purpose of the CDE. We're all in here to, you know, give our best tips and tricks to pool our resources together to make everybody safe. Yeah, that was a great event, and I think just shows what's more to come. And the next CDE event is going to be amazing. Don't miss it. That's all I
Yeah.
can say.
Hey man, we're just coming off of that event just a couple days from now, so I'm still recovering from it. But what's just want to let you know, but Randall's like he takes all the stuff that we learn and tries to break it and see if it works or not. And he's really accelerating in leveraging some of these tools. And you actually created an actual you wrote a book, right? First of all, so welcome to the book club. I'm not even, I'm by the way, I'm not in the book club.
I didn't know.
There you
Wow.
go.
Nice.
And it's pretty cool. And you also created another website. Was it ICANN 104?
It's CAN DCGI 104. So I called it can104.com for short.
Right.
Uh, but it's basically what are the cybersecurity controls that every SMB in Canada should have. And
Yeah.
I made it, very educational with the checklists and self-assessment, questions you should ask your IT company or your MSP to
Mhm.
help you attain that. And it's really a big topic of what we talked about the last few days. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of happy that I got ahead of the ball with that one. And I'm working with Adam on SureStack. We're going to be doing some implementations. I couldn't
Good.
answer his emails because I was on stage, but we're working on adding even more functionality to his tool, and I can't wait to get my hands on it to play around with it.
Well, there you go, my friends. We're not just talking about stuff. We're actually testing these things out, eating our own dog food, and except for me because I'm not in the game, but I'm just making sure that whatever we tell people to do, right, that
You're the
that
connector.
it's
You're the
actually
connector.
real. Yeah, and
Conduit.
so yeah, and Adam, of course, he's
We're-
got his SureStack thing, which is monitoring technology stack to see if it's what's working, what's not. And Evgeniy, you've got the certain security as well that you're helping people to understand, what's in their stack as well. So we're all trying to figure out how to move the cybersecurity nut forward, right, to protect our clients, right, and help these MSPs and MSSPs to do better, right. So biggest topic these days. Let's go right into MITOS. This is MITOS or MITOS. I don't know how you want to pronounce it, but yeah, Anthropic just released this thing and didn't release it actually to just 40 of their best friends and to try to find out what's going on because apparently it found a whole whackload of vulnerabilities a little bit faster than humans. Let's go around the table here, my friend. Evgeniy, what do you think about this? First of all, is this real or what are we dealing with?
It's definitely real. There's a lot of people that got gathered for the last few weeks to understand what to do about them. So we're talking about banks, we're talking about CISOs, we're talking about a lot of smart people in the industry gathered to understand how big is the problem. And there's,
Right.
of course, few different ways to look on this. There's also the part of money, and also the part of, okay, do we need to be worried? Do we human going to have work after that? So there's a lot of different points that we can talk and debate about them. But I think the main one is, first of all, AI going to influence on the vulnerability and cybersecurity. Funny enough, ChatGPT, OpenAI announced their own cyber program, literally, I think like a few days ago, depending on when is the episode going to be aired. And for you to get access, you need to verify who you are and how you're going to use it. But to kind of TLDR a bit,
Yeah.
it means that the LLMs will able to find vulnerabilities potentially faster. We don't know if cheaper. This is an interesting point. We don't know if cheaper, but faster. Why? Because they eat tokens. They use tokens. And there was some in the research saying that it cost them around $20,000 to find the BCD vulnerability. Now, the companies are going to use such methods and such LLMs will have to pay tokens there as well. But in the end of the day, what we see from my perspective, it's mean you as a defender, you are somebody that built into your architecture and design, need to understand, go to the basics, make sure there is not too many open holes. Use AI tools or other tools to understand and be ahead of the bad guys. Now, if you find a vulnerability in OS or a system, the bad guys still need to get the systems as well. So how is your defense in depth? How is your architecture? What are you doing? And it means we'll have to go faster and also use AI tools to potentially discover our problems before, understand what's the path to get to this, use controls to compensate problems if you cannot patch faster enough. But again, there's a very long topic about this. I want to have other talking about this as well.
Yeah, I mean, is it
Yeah.
all doom and gloom, man, or like do we pull the plug? What do we do here, my friend?
And so, yeah, and Evgeny makes a lot of good points. And I think one thing too I would add is the ability for, I'll call it the machines, large language models, AI, the ability for them to discover these vulnerabilities much faster than humans was predicted several years ago. But it still takes some time to get there. In the wrong hands, this is this could be, yeah, it really is very, very dangerous. And I think that's why they chose to have a limited distribution in the first place. But the other, just to sort of reinforce what Evgeniy has said is that, you still need to pay attention to the basics, right? You need to, if there's a vulnerability, but there's no attack surface or ability for someone to exploit it, do I really need to worry about it? Well, you still need to get to
Eventually.
it, but it's not as critical, right? But I think the tools like SureStack and Discern, and it's an emerging category. What we try to do there is to make sure that you know what your attack surface is and what your exposures are continuously. And if that changes, like let's say using one of these models, somebody comes out with a bunch of discovers a bunch of vulnerabilities. Again, if your stack is closed off in a manner that someone can't get to it, it's not hair burning, dumpster. It's not a dumpster fire. But the minute that changes, then and maybe you don't know about it, then it is. So, so there are some basics there. And another thing, I think we talked about maybe a month or so ago, these sort of AI enhanced or enabled attacks that, they're gonna move on. If you have like a certain level, because there's so many others. It's like being in a berry patch, right? Where there's all these ripe berries, right? And you're like, oh, that one looks riper than that one, so I'm gonna eat that one. So that's how I think about it. But yeah, that's just the sort of some thoughts on top of my head.
I do that when I pick apples, man. After a while, it says, are all these apples the same? Anyways, I get what you're saying. Low-hanging fruit, whoever is the weakest of the links, right, is going to get hit the most, I would assume. Randal, what's the issues on the front lines? You're protecting clients and leveraging all this AI stuff.
Well, first of all, the most dangerous thing is MITOS and Coca-Cola. Apparently, it's explosive. Oh no, wait a minute, that's Mentos. No, seriously, I've always talked about how, I always remember Terminator 2, that movie where Arnold Schwarzenegger is the Terminator, but it's the second one where he's the good Terminator. And the only way to fight a bad Terminator is to have your own Terminator. So the only way we're going to be able to fight AI and all the attacks that are coming, and I can tell you 100%, the clients that I care for are getting attacked more and more. I can't tell you the amount of warnings we got last night after hours by two companies that we manage. The AI scanning for phishing just was catching one after the other. And we got all of a sudden this flood of tickets. Obviously something was going on. We warned them, they're being extra careful. The tools are doing their job, but we're being attacked. And the only way to fight it is with AI. So we have to look for tools that are able to utilize AI in an ethical and good manner. And if and we still have companies that are, that we're still trying to have those conversations to turn on these tools, and they're so vulnerable they don't even know it. And they think they might be unimportant, but in a supply chain attack, you just need somebody in that chain, a weak link in the chain, to laterally move. So one company got phishing. That got through. They got into the account. They sent legitimate emails with another phishing link to the other companies, and another company that we manage got it that is not using any cybersecurity tools. So these are the conversations that we have to have with clients, and it's just lateral movement. And then they're going to go bigger companies. So yeah, real life, the attacks are on the rise. The solutions are there, but if you're not implementing them, then can you really say that you're sorry when you get attacked? No.
100%. So MITOS, I guess we're gonna know what it is, putting it to the side burner, right? That's something we got to be concerned about, how AI is evolving, where it's going, how it's going to uncover these vulnerabilities, and so on. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, every single person at RSA, the recent event, is an AI expert. And they've all been working on AI for the last 50 years, apparently. and they're really like doing it really well. But there's a lot of AI washing going on, and we really got to be careful here because one, we saw the SaaS stock got hit, we saw the cybersecurity stocks got hit from just an announcement, right? So there is something there. Mere mortals don't know what it is, but we don't know what it is. But there's something happening. So let's talk about what we Evgeniy, what did you see at RSA that you could what's your thoughts?
There's a few things. RSA, first of all, it's a very big event. Like there are some people that never actually come into the conference itself. You have an RSA, you have a conference around the conference, and every big company like Microsoft, Palo Alto, AWS have their own small events there as well. So I always tell people, you need to know your schedule. You need to understand who you're going to meet because it's a very good place to meet people and meet partners and also meet customers and meet random people that may become your friends or somebody you're going to interact later on. So I love RSA from this perspective. It is very tiring because you're walking a lot and you are talking and communicating a lot with the people. On the technology side, everybody agrees that it was the RSA of AI. Even last RSA, but this one, everybody used RSA. But the moment you're going a bit deeper, and it was interesting to talk, are you using AI in what way? Did you develop your own? Did you kind of put a wrapper around public LLM? And also many conversation went about, okay, you tell me you're using AI in security or you're securing AI, not the same. What's happening with my data? Are you training your vendor on my data? Would my data be exposed to public LLM? So all this conversation went much deeper from the previous years because we all realize we all going to use AI in one way or another, for sure. The question, how are we going to use it? A bit sad for myself as solution architect and somebody that did network security for a very, very long time, more than 20 years. There's a lot of companies that tell me, oh, we're going to protect how you interact with public LLMs. And they've wrapped this in a new AI security methodology. For me, it's a new way to do URL filtering in data protection. There is nothing really new there. It's just reacting on a different way. Instead of uploading information to Facebook, we're now uploading information to ChatGPT, Gemini, or Claude. How are we going to understand the information? What are you going to do? And then, of course, someone say, okay, we're going to understand what the information you're uploading. We're going to remove the PII, the personal identifying information. We off-secure it and we'll do something else. But in a way, we are redoing the cybersecurity in a bit different way that been existed for a long time. And I think it's harder for CISOs right now and for executive leaders to understand the hype, to understand, is this really new? Or it's a feature that somebody big going to enable tomorrow? Just literally.
How do we know? We got to watch on their eyes when their eyes are moving and squinting. And like, how do we know? Like, unless you test it out. Right?
So my personal opinion is, and people forget about this, many CISOs and many security leaders, they're not always going to be very technical all the time. Eventually, they will have to rely on people below them to be the technical experts. And this is the way it should be to understand the nuances. It means bringing the architects, bringing the engineers, have a trusted value reseller or you managed service provider to actually tell you, hey, Randal, you're running an MSP, an MSSP, or can you help me understand? Can you go and dive for me, understand, and give me the information back? This is, I think, what should be happening. Because if you're going to try to distill everything yourself, you don't have enough time. You shouldn't.
It's impossible.
You need an agent. Yeah, you need an agent for that, right?
Trusted agent. Trusted agent.
Yeah.
An agent with a special. What's that agent in the Matrix, man? Forgot his name.
Steve. No, not
Smith.
Agent, not Steve. Shit.
Agent.
Sorry.
Smith. I just saw it the other day.
Agent Smith.
Agent Smith.
Agent
yeah.
Smith.
And then Agent Smith became like 1,000 Agent Smith. And what are you going to do about this? That's my impression of the guy.
Yeah, I think it's a good point, and definitely agree, okay, some CISOs and security leaders are more technical than others, but even folks like myself who are technical enough to be dangerous, I still can't. There's no way I can keep up with everything. And I don't, but your point is exactly right. You don't have to, you just have to have the right people and agents, I think, to to help you. Yeah, it's interesting, you know, and definitely I agree. There's a lot more awareness, even outside, just in the industry in general, of okay, yeah, everybody's using AI, but you know, let's get into the nitty gritty of how it's protected. I think that's generally a good thing, and that's something I would have expected. You know,
Hey, Adam, I just want to interrupt you there. We all say, but we have to protect people from using AI. How the hell do we know that the protections we're giving them are actually really protecting them from AI, right? We don't know
well,
how.
it's not
Yeah.
we're not protecting people from using AI. It's all about the data that's going into the large language models and what's being done with that data, right? So is there PII or other sensitive information going on in there? Is it being used to train models? Could you have a leak of some of this information? And now you have an extra layer because, and this is a good segue. I was talking about agents. So I don't know if it was MITOS, correct me if I'm wrong, Evgeny, or another thing, but what happened was there was an agent that someone gave access to their emails and their calendar and a whole bunch of stuff, and they gave
Oh,
access to the draft press release, and the agent decided to go ahead and release it. Was it MITOS or
Yeah.
another one?
No.
it's a
No,
different
it was
one. I
it
know.
was something else.
It was
They,
something else, but yeah, that just
and then
happened.
message them back from the internet going, hey, here, I'm out. Here it is. And
Yeah,
send it back to them.
it was a few weeks ago, but this is very interesting. And it just goes to show you if you're going to use agentic AI, you need to understand what context and what powers, what you want to delegate to them, what access you want to give them. And so that was very, very interesting. But
Well,
anyway,
to add to that, there was another one when they give some parameters, some governance to an agent and told them to told the agent to do a certain things, and then the agent realized that it needed more power, more tokens, but it give them limited tokens. It went outside of the network, found a way to get more tokens and energy, and to do their job because the goal was you wanted to get the outcomes right. And then when you add the fact of having agents talk to other agents and agents build agents, we're getting into like, I don't know, Terminator times 10. Like Agent Smith, like that one's a scary one, right? It was the one that was a million Agent Smiths, right? At some point, you can't fight them all, right?
I find that it feels like we're giving the keys to a Ferrari to a 6-year-old that loves to play with Hot Wheels. There's a lot of power, and I think it's too much power sometimes. So, what happens when, some kid buys, a 17-year-old kid buys their first Ferrari? They often crash it within the first few seconds because they just don't realize how much power
Wait a minute,
is.
Randall. How many 17-year-olds you know is buying a Ferrari?
They're the influencers that you see online that
Okay,
crash their Ferraris.
those people.
I don't
Yeah.
know any of them, and I don't want to be friends with any of them. But I think that's what's happening. There's so much power, and I don't think people realize how much power they're giving. Just case in point, somebody, and again, I don't want to name the name, but they saw something about Copilot. And it said like, "Oh, do you want to upgrade Copilot?" And they go, "What do you mean upgrade it? Aren't I using a paid version?" And they asked us, and we said like, "No, you're not. You're using the free version." And then, all of a sudden the blood drained from their face and they realized just how much they've been giving the free version, not knowing, what it's doing with that data. So there's a lot of education, there's a lot of power, but with great power comes great responsibility, as the old Spider-Man quote goes. So we have to educate our clients and the general populace of, what you should be doing, what you should not be doing, because that is a very powerful engine.
yeah, and I just want to add on to this real quick that, you know, some customers are moving very quickly in terms of, we have a customer, a vCISO customer that they're not in the tech field at all. I'm not going to, and so, but but they have an MSP, they have us for vCISO, and then they have like some developer folks. And so what we find is, okay, they're coming up with these use cases and they're coming up with requirements and they're going to the developer. Now, luckily, this is an MSP we have a great relationship with, and so they came to us, and we have regular meetings, and they're like, "Hey, not sure if you knew about this," and so it is okay. It ultimately was okay. We had some questions, and we're still not done, right? But there are some things in there that if you don't know, how what the potential issues are, you got an MCP server, you got all this architecture, you got all this stuff. You don't have proper differentiation or segmentation. There's lots of things to consider. You could have a big problem really quickly. So I think that's another key, having those communication lines with your customers and with your partners is really important.
We know what's going on. Something that's been bothering me for a few months with talking about all this AI agents, and it started when we were talking about AI poisoning, and I was trying to find out, man, let's say someone is able to like figure out, right, how to literally poison all the AI out there, right, by just uploading truckloads, gazillion loads, terabytes, petabytes of data that's been manipulated to formulate hacking or whatever it is, right? And just entered it into the system and just simply corrupted, right? A lot of this data that's floating around. And then everybody's LLMs are kind of like pulling all this data in to get a little bit of that poison into their little LLM worlds, if you will. So you poison the big lake, and then all the people who get water from that lake gets a little bit of that poisoning, and maybe that poisoning is very strategic in that it's about hacking and so on and so forth. Do we worry about that stuff, or is that am I nuts?
Today it doesn't really work that way, thankfully.
Okay,
but
thank God, because I thought I had a nightmare.
But if you connected it all, theoretically it could.
Well, what about skills like Anthropic? You can download a skill, and they found that certain skills had malicious code, but they only found that after it was out there for a little while. So
No. What I mean is like when he said all of the AI, I'm thinking like a bigger picture. But no, definitely there are cases of this type of poisoning. Absolutely.
Geez, I wanted to sleep well tonight, but okay. So there's a probability. See, the thing is, I just feel that we say the bad actors, right? But the other side, and now with the situation we're all faced with, it used to be fun maybe when it was just ransomware. Now with kinetic wars and stuff that's going on, it's about seek and destroy, right? Grab the data, clean it out, drop it in the dark web, and just destroy. It's destruction now. It's no longer money, right? Are we starting to see this? Because we're seeing this in the news happening now. Are we worried now that these sort of kinetic wars are transforming, moving away from just ransomware to just being destructive?
I'm thinking that state-sponsored acts of cyber terrorism are definitely on the rise. The attacks on infrastructure are getting more numerous. So I can definitely see it just as it being ultimately an act of destruction to disrupt or to cripple an economy or a country. Definitely on the rise. I'm glad I don't have infrastructure, because I would be really worried right now. But yeah, I definitely think that this is possible. There is obviously money involved, but there are also just evil
different motives. Well, I think it's a county or a state I think it's a county that the hackers grabbed the data, wiped it clean, posted it on the dark web. And you're talking things with people's criminal records. We're talking about taxes and information about people that's personal. They just dumped it. They didn't care. So, and I'm not even sure if it was recoverable, right? But we're now in that phase. Adam and Evgeniy, are you guys seeing this type of destruction play happening, or are the bad guys giving us a bit of a break here?
Go ahead, Evgeniy.
I think it's always going to be continuing. It's not going to stop. And the problem is we don't really know what the bad guys have access to. So there's this entire idea of 0 day. And it's not me was posting about it, was my friend Andrew and Tapsa was talking about this. So 0-day is no longer 0-day the moment people get disclosed about the problem. 0-day, basically, it's a way for me to get to your house that nobody knows there's a way to get to your house. So when I'm talking about this, there's probably a lot of vulnerabilities, a lot of 0-days that bad guys can use, or not the bad guys can use, the government can use to get to someone environment. And
But
we
they
just
keep it
don't know
quiet.
exist. Of course, this is why it's a 0-day. Because the moment we disclose about it, it's no longer a 0-day, because we already know what's happening. So what I'm thinking is going to happen is people are going to continue, and we want to try to close the loop to find the problem and the bad guys in the environment from hundreds days to days or not hours by using technology and architecture. But unfortunately, there's different layers of the bad guys. There's a state sponsors, there's private businesses, there's personal people, and this continue to be a problem, and we cannot wait. We have to start understanding what do we need to protect. What I will recommend here is not just say, oh my God, let's go all panic and protect everything. People forget that they need to go and understand what is the most important part of my environment. What if this goes down? I'm not able to make money. What if I lose this information? It's going to protect. It's going to really hurt my business. This could be the customer information. If you're a marketing company, maybe the designs of your customers. So you need to understand and do almost like a self-assessment or hire somebody to help you with the assessment, but you have to guide them to understand what is your problem, because it doesn't matter how me smart, Randal smart, Adam smart, we don't know your business as you know your business. So we'll guide you to understand, but you need to explain to us, how do you make money? What's important to you?
You got to know your family jewels, right? Another topic I wanted to talk about that people are, it came up a lot now. The attacks are getting faster. I think we're down to like 6 minutes before the bad actors can kind of get into networks now. It used to take a little bit longer. Are we worried about the speed to detect now? Is it becoming a thing now?
It's always been a thing, but like we said, like I was saying earlier, AI is just, and just sped it up tremendously. And
so is it like 6 minutes now, Adam? Or
I mean,
like,
it depends on, it could be less than that. It depends on what you're talking about. If you put something unprotected on the internet, it could be less. But back to your previous point, because it's relevant to this as well. I think we are going to see, and this ties in with the MITOS and some of the other models, we are going to see, hopefully, things like operating systems and browsers and major software components get safer. If the right things are done in this, and these things aren't leaked out, right? Because large organizations are going to spend resources trying to find a lot of vulnerabilities in these things. So that I'm hoping that's going to happen. I'm sure there's going to be some bad stuff that happens too.
Let's try to end this on a fun note, my friends. We're gonna, obviously, you got the defenders, right? And you got the offenders, right? We got to build, a great defense, because the offense just seems to be like it's just relentless, right? It's almost like when will the offense take a break? And it doesn't seem like they're doing that, and it's getting kind of cheaper for getting offense as a service, or hacker as a service is getting cheaper and cheaper. I think the expensive one was like $69 a month. I think we're down now to $19 a month. And anyways, they're supporting, right? Community. They're building a community of hackers, right? I think that's what worries me the most. Is like at some point you'd assume that the hackers that's current today will have eaten enough food, taken enough ransom, made enough money, which is now the third largest GDP of the world, if you had to put it all together in a pot. And you'd say, hey, you know what? They've got way enough money. Maybe they should just chill a bit. But they're just empowering another crop, right, of folks, and they're getting a percentage of that gig, right? So it just seems like, I don't know if they'll ever, level off or come down. So based on that, what are the defenders? What's your best advice now beyond the basics, right? I mean, I'm sure we always talk about the basics, right? But now we're entering this accelerated world of attacks. If I could just say it in that way. If you're using AI, you've got to have decent cybersecurity practice already. What are some of the things, the blind spots maybe, that you haven't thought about that you should be looking at? Is it the stuff in the code?
If you didn't think about it, you're not gonna think about it as well, because you just don't know about it. So do a tabletop exercise. Invite somebody external that will guide you from MSP community, solution architect, red teaming, that will guide you and ask you questions, and you will be surprised that you didn't think about it. Oh, I didn't know my sales system, my ERM, CRM, is actually my problem. So you cannot understand the problem if you are inside the problem.
You don't know what you don't know. It's so strange, you know. I don't know what the numbers are, but we did a little mini poll at the last event about who here has an incident response planned. I remember, Adam, that was the first talk we used to have, right?
Yeah.
Which was like, and guess what? Sadly to report, it looks like still less than 20% have an actual incident response plan that's even been practiced, et cetera, et cetera. Are people doing it or not? Are you seeing an increase or a decrease or the same?
I mean, our customers do, because we do it for them, but there's still like, yeah, it's a small, I think, overall percentage. And I think it is good, you know, to have a third party do it, because and you know, not advertise what the scenario is going to be. You know, let's show up and let's go through something. It may be a little uncomfortable, but that's where the value is in that.
It should
that
be uncomfortable.
Level.
It should be
when you see my goal for those, my goal for those is to see the leadership squirming. The more they squirm, the better that tabletop was. And so but because that's gold, because we found something that they hadn't considered, and you can't see the forest for the trees. So that's really important. The other thing is, you got to leverage automation. You know, Evgeniy and I can tell you all about that, AI and automation, because there's not enough people, right, to do this.
Here's a $1 million idea. Yeah. I think somebody should create a D&D. I never played D&D, but a D&D style book, all for these tabletop exercises. Get those multi-sided dice and gamify it, and maybe.
Yeah, Randal, people did it. People did it already. People did it like with gaming cards. Yes, there's
all right.
that's doing this.
Oh, now we have to bring that in the world. So make a note, a mental note. Let's D&D this pen test. You know, you guys are so right. It all comes down to one thing that everybody must do, and if they don't do it, too bad. And that is, you better have the most aggressive pen testing, incident response thing you can possibly to your organization to see if it breaks. And there's so many different components of this, because it's impossible to say I have good protection, right? Or I have enough protection. You just can't say it. I mean, I used to ask my favorite question when I talked to some of those cybersecurity MSSPs who are, you know, managing hundreds of clients every day in cybersecurity. And I would say, can you give me a number, right, on a scale of 1 to 10, right? 10 being they're really, really incredibly protected, and 1 being they don't even have 2FA, right? And it came down to like 6, 7, you know, like it's like, and it's like it plays right into the meme, you know, 6, 7, right? And I'm thinking, are we always going to be at 6, 7 because we don't know the answer?
Yeah.
Yep.
Meh.
That's sad.
Yeah.
Anyways, oh boy. All right, my friends. So what I've learned today is that you better do a very ugly pen test and incident response playbook. And if you want to make it a little bit more fun, D&D it. That's Dungeons and Dragons, I believe, right? If it was a different D&D, you never know, man. So, and then maybe gamify it a little bit, and then figure what's going on. And folks, this is why you need folks like this, right? Evgeniy that understands architecture and having platforms that does some management of what's going on and then some assessments. Adam as a VCIO doing these things for you to make sure that you're not going to get hit, and actually building tools to actually help you understand if you're doing it right or wrong. And Randal trying to convince his clients every day that you're being attacked and you need to have the what do you call it, man? The paid version.
Yeah, I got to go for paid versions of AI. But what you know what? One thing I liked about I don't remember who said it, but we used to say like it's not if, but it's when you're going to be
Yeah.
compromised. And what somebody said was it's not when anymore. It's how many times will you be compromised? And that's the reality. And I think
Yeah.
it's our job as thought leaders to put that really across, because people think that they're a small company and they think they're insignificant, but it's that supply chain. It's the weak link in a chain that will get the bad actors much higher up that chain to go after the real targets. Everybody that gets a compromise along the way are have the risk of losing it all, losing their reputation at the very least, losing clients and losing money, maybe even a lawsuit. Yeah, we have to keep on educating and keep on showing the need to at least do your due diligence. If you're in Canada, do Can 104. You're in any other place, follow
NIST
NIST,
and a whole bunch of
CIS,
stuff.
or there's a lot of tools out there to get you at least to a decent level where you're doing your due diligence, you're doing the best you can. There's always ways to go up, but at least start with a baseline.
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna start
think
doing the thing that the hot sauce guy does, right? At the end of the sessions, I'm gonna ask each one of you what's coming up next for you. What do you want the world to know about you stuff? So I don't know if you've seen Hot Ones, and he goes like, "Okay, Evgeny, what's coming up? You tell everybody what's coming up with you." I'll go to Adam and then you, Randall.
What's kind of mean like the next few weeks,
Yeah,
days,
what's
months?
you obviously
Wow.
don't watch the show Hot Ones, right? Anyways,
No, I don't want shows. I edit my own stuff usually, the podcast. So I'm very, very bad with this. But
what's coming up?
it's coming up. What's
Yeah,
coming
for
up
you.
is some new personal news with this one security, where we're going and what we're doing. We just announced new AI agent before RSA that are doing interesting stuff with the data inside. For me personally, I actually have an idea to write a book about history of network security, like a small book for dummies, because I see people trying to sell us new things that they forgot how they work, and it's not always going to work. So I'm been working on this lately and trying to figure out. I have enough material for this because I've been presenting on the topic for a long time. So let's see if we're going to finalize this or not. But I think it's very interesting from an
Cool.
educational perspective. And in the beginning, I mentioned about soft skills and communication. I plan to do more about soft skills and communication. Maybe we'll do something on the 28th or at the event in Toronto.
100%. Adam, what's going on in your world, man? What are you working on? What do you want the world to know?
Well, on the SureStack side, rapid pace increase recently on in number of integrations and securely making use of AI coding tools, and working on some new features, which will be really, really great. Definitely coming up to Toronto soon. See, wow, what else? Going to be doing some fishing.
You love fishing, man. How's
I
the
know.
F,
beverage
not the
business coming
PH,
along?
right?
I love
With
it.
an F,
What's
not a
that?
PH. With an F, not a
Oh
PH.
yeah. Well, we do the pH fishing all the time. This week we're doing that. Yeah, we do that all the time.
We do, but he
That's a
does
good one.
boat fishing.
Good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to
Well,
release a new whiskey soon.
yeah.
Trying to promote doing some barbecue and bourbon and beer festivals. So lots of good stuff.
Well, we got to do some stuff, man. And hey, let's do some taste testing soon. Randall, what do you got coming up, man? You're how many people you're saving every day?
My dance card is pretty full when it comes to events, because we have some pretty cool events planned, including some external events that I go to just for my own education, because I invest in my own education as an entrepreneur. But what I'm really looking forward to is taking some of the things from the last Channel Next event, implementing, and just we're doing more cybersecurity audits. We started doing that a couple weeks ago, and we're rolling that out to all our managed clients. So we talked about, I think it was Evgeniy said, you don't know what you don't know. So now we're making sure that they know what they don't know, that we're pointing it out, and that's our job. So I'm looking forward to having more of those one-on-one conversations after doing one of these exercises. It's so revealing. We're having a lot of, I mean, it's kind of fun, but it's also really revealing to show people what they don't know, and it's our job. We have to do it.
For sure. Well, a lot of stuff coming. We got more events coming up, so we'll keep it posted what's going on. We're just kind of continually interviewing all these smart folks, trying to figure out what they're doing, what we should bring to the community. We just actually found another AI assessment governance type solution tool, so we're playing with that as well. There's so many shiny balls, man, on the desktop. We're trying to figure out what to cover, what not to cover. So check out an eChannelNews. We'll post this, of course, and for the Cybersecurity Defense Ecosystem. We're going to publish more dates of when we're coming out with events across the US and Canada. We've got 2 published so far, one in US, one in Canada, and we're going to be doing a lot more of those. My friends, stay safe and be cyber safe. We got to come up with a kind of a tagline at the end. You know what I mean?
Stay safe, stay thirsty, right?
Stay safe.
Stay thirsty, my friends.
Stay thirsty, my friends. I get it.
Yeah, thirst for knowledge, right?
Yes, we are in a thirst for knowledge. I think at the end of the day, we're just trying to help everybody make sense out of chaos. And it just feels that chaos and noise is just increasing, not decreasing. There's so many headwinds we have, and some of us maybe try to find some tailwinds from what's going on. But boy, it is not easy. And I want people to know out there. Everybody can do their own thing, go back to their own little silos, but we're trying to help everybody, move the needle up. And if you've got any suggestions and ideas that we should be covering, or you want to chime in, we welcome guests, right? We can always get someone to jump in there. So hopefully the full crew will be back the next time. Nim, hopefully he's not missing. What's that again? MIIA?
Missing in artificial intelligence.
Something like that.
MIAI.
We'll get it right. Folks, have a fantastic time. Vacation. We shall talk to you guys later, and we shall see you soon. All right.
All right.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers.